Welcome back to my channel. My name is Miranda and today I'm going to be trying out a 75% hydration sourdough bread. I will link my beginner sourdough bread recipe below. If you are new to sourdough, I would start off with a lower hydration because it is easier to work with at the start. So let's get into it. I do weigh out all my ingredients, so go ahead and grab your scale, and then I'm starting off with 100 grams of my active sourdough starter. Next, add 375 grams of warm water or room temperature, and then you're going to go ahead and mix those two together. Next, add in 500 grams of bread flour, and go ahead and mix that together. Next, I'm going to add in 10 grams of salt. And at this point, I'll just start kneading it with my hands. And you want to make sure this is incorporated really well. So I'd knead this for about 3 to 5 minutes. You don't have to do this part, but I do like to take my scraper and scrape down my sides. After I have that done, I go ahead and cover it. And I'm going to let this rest for 30 minutes before we start our first round of stretch and folds. Now I'm going to start my first round of stretch and folds, and what I do is go ahead and wash your hands and then keep them wet because your dough is sticky. And then what you'll do is stretch up and then fold in, and you're going to want to do this clear around your bowl. After you have your first round done, go ahead and cover and let it rest for another 30 minutes. And then for round 2 and 3, you will repeat the same thing you just did for round 1. You will notice with each round of stretch and fold that your dough will become less sticky. Now that we finished our 3 rounds of stretch and folds, the next step is we're going to let our dough bulk ferment. So this can take anywhere from like 4 to 12 hours, even 16 hours. It really depends on like how hot or cold your house is. So just keep an eye on it throughout the bulk fermentation. Now that my dough is done bulk fermenting, I'm gonna go ahead and take my banneton basket and add some flour to it. And then also add a little bit of flour to my countertop. Just make sure you don't add too much flour. And then next, go ahead and get your dough out on the countertop. There are many ways to shape your dough. I go ahead and pull my dough out kind of to a rectangle, and then I'll go ahead and fold it into thirds. I did notice with this higher hydration dough, it is a bit more sticky, so I did have to add a little bit of flour to my hands. And then after I have it folded into thirds, I go ahead and roll this up. And then to finish off your shaping, you're going to push your dough away from you, and then when you pull it back towards you, you're going to tuck it under. And you're going to do this a couple times until you build up some tension on your dough. After that, go ahead and sprinkle some flour on top of your dough, and then using your little scraper, go ahead and scrape it off your countertop and then stick it in your banneton basket. And then I go ahead and cover my banneton basket with my shower cap. You can use plastic wrap too, and then I place it in the fridge overnight and I will cook it the next day. It's the next day, or it could just be at least 6 hours. I go ahead and preheat my oven with my Dutch oven in it to 450 degrees. Get some parchment paper out, add your dough to your parchment paper, and then go ahead and score your bread. Remember, you at least want one deep cut. Next, go ahead and get your Dutch oven out of the oven, and then remove the lid and then add your dough to your Dutch oven. Place it back in the oven. I'm going to cook this on 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes, and then I will remove the lid, lower the temp to 400, and cook it for another about 15 to 20 minutes. It is all done, and it actually turned out really well, and it was really soft. But I will put the full recipe in the description below, and then follow me for more sourdough recipes.